I think possibly. I like that it started immediately with me fixing this one little hair right here that's bothering me. So yeah, looks like I'm here. Hey everybody, my name is Charlie Worthley. I am the convention chair of Ponyville Ciderfest, Whinny City PonyCon, MLP MSPF, and have also been vice chair for High Roller PonyCon. And why do I feel like I'm forgetting something? I don't think I am. Anyways, hi. Thanks for coming to Con Chair Chat with TekCharlie. So basically, if you've ever been to Ponyville Ciderfest or Windy City PonyCon before, this is going to be basically just, if you've ever been to one of my Con Chair Chats before, this is basically just going to be that. I am it's pretty much an informal, unstructured chat. I'll be taking questions. So in the Discord, if you're not already in there, you should be. Join the PonyFest online Discord. The link is at I think it's at PonyFest online. Ponyfest.horse. Join the Discord there, and then pop into the Neural Nets stage questions chat. And if you have any questions for me there, I'd love to talk about and answer whatever it is you'd like to talk about. So real quick, just while everybody's kind of popping over there and starting to put some questions into that chat, I'll make sure that they know to open it up if it isn't. 1 second. For me, please, if not already. Typing and yay. Cool. So while everybody's kind of moving over to there and thinking of questions and starting to put some questions in there, I'll kind of talk a little bit just to give the very short version of my bio. So I guess the short version is why in the world do I think that I should be able to put on a panel like this? And I sort of guess my internal answer for that question is because I believe I'm safe in saying that I have either chaired, vice chaired, or co-chaired more PonyCons than anyone else. Now, that does not mean that I'm any better at it than anyone else. It just means that I have a heck of a lot of experience and a heck of a lot of stories. And so it kind of puts me in a position where I can talk about a lot of things because I've done 12 of them now. I've either chaired, vice chaired, or co-chaired. Starting with my first one was Ponyville Ciderfest 2015. I was vice chair for that, and then was vice chair for Windy City its first year in 2016. I've just done PR director for MLP MSP, PR staff and PR director for the second and the third years of that con, and then went on to move up to co-chair for Ciderfest in Windy City, and then eventually just the chair for going forward. And now this year, for the first time, I have a vice chair for Windy City, and that's my lovely wife Michelle, who's over here. You can't see her, but I'm sure she would say hi if you could. And then I had a vice chair for MLP MSPF before, who was Vivid Syntax. He's fantastic. Couldn't have done it without him. But just a lot of experience and a lot of cons under my belt. So I'll skip my entire bio, how I got into the fandom, all that, because you can probably find that in a couple different places. One of which is an interview that Michelle and I just did with Choco Pony, aka Transformative Arts. He's doing a con history podcast he's currently working on, and so we did a 2-hour interview with him the other night. That'll get edited down and put into a podcast that should be coming out, he said, hopefully within the next few weeks, so you can get a lot more of the backstory and some more information there. If you like what you see on this panel, there'll be more there. Anyways. So questions are starting to come into the neural net stage questions chat over here. So let's take a look and see what's first question. So this is from Star Singer MLP. Would you prefer to be the natural lady loving, or do you prefer to be the society lady, food from your stores at your nature? Star Singer, I'm sorry, I'm not quite following your question. If you could please re-ask that. I'm going to move on to M5 Henry asks, where do I submit my request for the Drawing for Exposure panel? I don't know which con you're asking that about. But I'll go ahead and I'll take this opportunity to flip into the other thing, actually, that I wanted to ask to talk about in this panel, just while I have everybody's eyeballs. So some people are probably wondering about the future of Whinny City and Ponyville Ciderfest, just with the current environment that we are all living in here in COVID-19 2020. So here's I can tell you a few things. First off, as of this moment, for those who haven't heard, I believe it was yesterday, within the last few days, the Illinois Governor Pritzker decided to, made the decision to, along with his advisors, I'm sure, extend the stay-at-home order for the state of Illinois essentially through the end of May. Now, what that means for us, I am choosing to believe that because we're sort of, it seems like, just looking at the numbers and the trends of everything, because it seems like we're coming into the peak of inspections here in Illinois right now, and that they've made what I believe the wise decision to continue the stay-at-home order for the next month, that will help to that will end up doing more good than harm, and just in terms of the future of these events. So I am choosing to believe that this will actually increase the chances and the possibility for Whinny City 2020 to happen as currently scheduled on the weekend of July 3rd through 5th. So based on that belief, the balls for all things 2020 will start rolling again in the next few weeks, starting with evaluating where we currently are with staffing, and going through and starting to open up staff positions again, taking a look at what panelists are still planning on coming, and starting to re-put a schedule together and start to get everything put back together, and with the intention of an event happening in Schaumburg on July 3rd through 5th. I'm assuming that by the end of May, start of June, we will have a much clearer picture on whether or not Whinny City 2020 will be happening in the physical world. If it does, great. Of course, that's what everybody's fingers are crossed for. If it doesn't, then after seeing how accepted and how well online cons are able to function, obviously, Dex has offered to help Whinny City put on a online version of itself in the event that we have to cancel our meet space version. So one way or another, Whinny City 2020 will be taking place on July 3rd through 5th. If we have to move online, I would love to. Now, I don't know how realistic this is, because all these online cons have only been one day. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know what a 3-day online con would look like. So I don't know if we might compromise and try 2. I'm not sure exactly what will happen there, but one way or another, there will be a semblance of Whinny City PonyCon 2020 on the July 3rd through 5th weekend, whether it be a meet space version or it be an online version. And my sort of headcanon of what that would look like is the online version would be as close as possible to what the real world version would have been, complete with opening ceremonies at 11 a.m. on Friday, concerts Friday night to Saturday night, guest of honor Q&A panels. Of course, this is what I want. I haven't really talked to anybody about this yet. I sort of just came to this decision after the announcement just a few days ago, so the logistics of this have not been talked about with anybody yet. But that is my intention. If in case anybody's asking, well, what about rescheduling again? It would not really be possible, because one, the reason that we picked the July 3rd to 5th weekend in the first place is because it was the only one available for the rest of the year that wasn't within weeks of Ciderfest. So I don't think rescheduling is an option at all. And even if it was, at that point, we're really moving into Ciderfest territory. And as we found out last year, by adding MLP, MSP, F into the mix, planning 2 cons at the same time is a lot harder than we thought it was going to be. So we will not reschedule again. If we have to, if Whinny City 2020 doesn't end up happening in Meet Space, then the online version will happen, and I will still try and keep as much of that as possible and fold it over to a 2021 event. which, by the way, is definitely happening. We do have a weekend unlock for Whinny City 2021, so I can now officially announce that Whinny City 2021 will be happening. We are moving a little bit more into the summer. Should have had this ready, but of course I did not. I have to give me a second, and I'll tell you exactly what our dates are going to be. But what we've found is that the late March, early April dates have been a little too risky, just in terms of being close to, possibly still snow happening. Just the weather and everything is not great. Being right before tax time, I know, makes it hard for some people to attend. So we are going to be moving Whinny City 2021 to the weekend of June 4th through 6th, 2021. So there's a window there where no other cons are happening. We shouldn't be stepping on anybody's toes, but it'll put us in a much better position, I think, to run a successful event, because our other option was March 19th through 21st. And with Ciderfest happening on Halloween weekend, and then March 19th through 21st is, that's November, December, January, February, March. That's 4 months away, as opposed to the 6 that we try to keep them apart, which is a little too close for comfort, especially because we have learned that not much planning gets done over the holidays anyways, just because, well, we're all enjoying the holidays. So realistically, it probably would have ended up being a 2 to 3 month plan, which is too tight. So that was one of the contributing factors of moving it in the first place. But I think a summer con will make it easier for some people to attend. And the weather will be nicer. The pool will be open at the hotel, the outdoor pool, as it will be hopefully for this year. And so hopefully overall it'll be a better event. So Whinny City 2020 will be happening in one way or another. And then Whinny City 2021 will be happening June 4th through 6th. And it will either be as much of 2020 as we were able to move to it in the event we have to cancel the meat space version, or it'll be a whole new thing, which would be preferred, but we'll see how that goes. As far as Ciderfest is concerned, I know some people are starting to ask questions about, registering and everything for Ciderfest. It's with the way that with the speed and the frequency at which things are moving and changing right now, it's really hard to put a prediction on what we think is going to happen with Ciderfest. It's real easy to say, oh, this should all be over by then. Like, a Halloween weekend con at this point should be completely safe from all this, stay at home business. But I mean, who knows? I mean, it's really hard to say. That being said, we need to get that ball rolling, because if hopefully it does happen, it's going to be one of the on the more complicated end, I think, of events to plan, just with what we want to do with our cosplay theme. So we need to get that going. And so my plan is going to be, by the end of May, to have Ciderfest 2020 registration open, applications open, and all that fun stuff. And again, hopefully by the end of May, we'll have a better outlook as to the picture of seeing where the curve is and everything, so we can kind of be a little more confident about things. So that's what's going on with Whinny City 20, Whinny City 21, and Ciderfest 2020. So, all right. So hopefully, in all that and Planetary, I hope I answered your question. Let's see. Costa Brony asks, you gave me too much time to think of questions. Sorry. Kyle Bush says, hey, Kyle, favorite year of either Whinny City or Ponyville Ciderfest? Ooh, okay. So my favorite year of Ciderfest easily is 2018. That was the music festival year that we did. That was for me and the staff to help put it together, and the musicians and just everybody that contributed to it. That was a massive undertaking in comparison to what we usually do with Ciderfest, and so it was my favorite in as much as I felt really good and accomplished afterwards. I also felt very much relieved that it was done and that we pulled it off in a good way. Not like, I'm so glad this is over. It wasn't like that. It was hooray, we did it. That kind of thing. So Ciderfest 18 for sure. Whinny City favorite year. That's boy. I would have to say, if I had to pick, I would say 2018 for Whinny City as well, too. It was our biggest year that we've had so far. The old Chicago theme that we had was really fun. The guests that we had were fantastic. I mean, all the guests we've always had are fantastic, but that year was certainly no exception. And just in general, just the vibe of that one was really fun, just really cool. We had a really good time there. So that would be my answer. Beta Wolves asks, what was your favorite set of plushies you've made for a convention? Oh man, that Gwen plush that we made for MSP is so freaking adorable. It's MSP is not my con, so I don't have as much of an attachment to the OCs as I do to barley, caramel, deep dish, hoofwork, and mustard mark. But man, that Gwen OC plush is cute. She's currently sitting behind me. Can't really see her. Kind of over there. You can't really see her. But anyway, yeah, I would have to say Gwen was made that set my favorite because she has toe beans. Like Gwen with toe beans. It's so great. Let's see. Once again, in case you're just joining, thanks for dropping in. Make sure that you hop over to Discord, to the PonyFest Online Discord. Go down to the Neural Net Stage questions channel, and anything that you want to ask, and I will be happy to answer anything. I'm really an open book. Between silly questions, serious con questions, I'll take anything. I'll pretty much answer anything as long as it doesn't violate some NDA or contractual obligation that I can't talk about. So, probably saying this wrong. Atoj1 asks, hi. How can we get involved with organizing and helping out local conventions? Like, who would you recommend reaching out to, and is volunteering a good way to start? Great question. So if you want to get involved with cons, absolutely volunteer. Now, every con is different. Depending on the size of the con, they're going to be organized differently. Like larger cons are going to have what they call gophers, typically, which are, they usually hire on the spot at the con. There'll be like a table you'll walk up to and you'll say, I want a gopher. And then they'll give you some tasks to do. And you'll get, either free or comp badge or discounted badge or whatever for your time. Smaller cons, like the ones that I run, do not have gophers. We do all our hiring in advance. Everybody is part of the planning, part of the conversation of putting the con together from whenever they join up. So you'll have a more involved task than just, running errands, like or checking badges typically, or like the kind of things that like a gopher would do. But so those are the two ways to go about it. Pretty much every con should have like a volunteer page on their website about where you can go to sign up for one of those things or another. The earlier the better in terms of getting the position that you want, because some departments will fill up. But even that being said, if you're brand new to volunteering, there are some positions that do either require or greatly prefer experience in some fashion or another. So not everybody will be able to go in and pick up one of the more highly sought after positions right out of the gate. You might need to kind of just prove your reliability and just as a staffer and all that on something a little more basic like security / royal guard or registration or something like that first. But if you want to get involved with the conventions, absolutely volunteer. Meet people. Become a known entity to staff, so that when you do go to apply for the positions that you want, in case they are harder to get, connections. In terms of who, as far as who would you reach out to, just go to your local con's website and follow the instructions on their page for how to volunteer. That's what I would suggest. Absolutely. Pick Fairy asks, as a convention staffer that's shifted up to a con chair, what's the biggest 5 steps that you would have your own staff follow that you didn't know yourself? What's the biggest 5 steps you have your own staff follow that you didn't know yourself? Okay, so let's see. God, I'm gonna have to think about that one. I'm gonna let that one stew a little bit while I answer the next question, because that's a really good question. Roof asks, what's my favorite department to staff, or like like for me to like if I were to staff, what's my favorite department, or like what is my favorite department of people, considering that it's a staff artist asking me this question. I'm betting they're asking about the latter, so I'll answer it that way. By the way, hi, Roof. I don't. I know this is going to sound like a cop out, but it is not, and I can only promise you that as much as I can for you. Hopefully you all believe me, but every department to me is important, no department is more important or more special to me than another. Like like staff artists, for example, hi Ruth again, are amazing because any creative volunteer like that's putting, that there's certain things that you can that people can learn, but there are certain things that people just have as part of them. And I'm not an artist, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I don't feel like I could learn to be an artist. I feel like it's in terms of like drawing. I've tried to like draw a couple times, and I don't believe that is in my DNA. So I believe that for artists that are excellent artists, I believe that's in their DNA. And so for somebody to take that skill and to donate it freely to a convention, that's a huge deal. Like it can make all the difference between how professional a convention looks and how amazing it looks, and all that. So artists are amazing, but other departments are just as important and just as amazing too, just in completely different ways. Like on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, like Royal Guard, for example. Like Royal Guard are essential to making sure that everybody stays safe, that people are not, that people are taking care of themselves and are not endangering anyone else on the, on that side of things. And like the majority of like Royal Guard, they're on their feet for 20 hours in a weekend. Like it's probably not a very fun job most of the time. It's probably a tiring job. Go home and like soak your feet in like a bath of Epsom salts kind of a situation. So it's the fact that people are willing to do that is just as important and special to me as the other departments. And every department's the same way too. Like everybody brings their own particular set of skills and abilities, and a convention cannot function if any one department were to go away. So I'm sorry, it sounds like a cop out, but I can't have a favorite because they're all important to me and they all mean so much to me. Shockbox asks, as someone who is currently trying to decide which PonyCon he should go to next, what would you say sets Ponyville Ciderfest or Whinny City apart from other cons in the fandom? So here's the thing. I can't say that I think that Ciderfest or Whinny City are better than other cons. First of all, just to make that clear, I believe that every PonyCon has its own personality. There's different things that every con does differently, and they all do those things that they do differently very well. As probably the most extreme examples, like TrotCon on one end of the spectrum is very good at being TrotCon. Everfree Northwest is very good at being Everfree Northwest, but they are not the same con, like in any way, shape, or form. They have, all the PonyCons have similarities and overlapping, things that make them, that they all share, but like, Everfree is always going to be super guest of honor focused because they, most of them can just drive there from Vancouver. Trust me, if I didn't have to buy flights from Vancouver, I would have a lot more guests than I do. And they're also very kid focused, which is awesome. TrotCon is like the amazingly fun, comfy party con that I suppose it's probably safe to say is more adult, even though it's not an adult con, but it's more, it's just more that direction. So they're just different. So to answer your question, as far as Ciderfest and Whinny City are concerned, the things that I think the Ciderfest and Whinny City do very well are, I think we take very good care of our sponsors. So I don't know if you were considering being a sponsor, Shockbox, but I have been told by enough sponsors that I'm okay repeating it, that we take very good care of them. And just, I think our programming is very well done and very well put together. We really try and have something for everyone. It's important to me and the rest of the managers and the staff that it be completely kid friendly during the day, but 18 and 21 stuff, 21 plus stuff happens after 8 p.m. So if that's what you're interested in, we have that. We do have an after dark vendor hall, which is not something that I myself am interested in the slightest, but I know that other people are. So I mean, it just fits into that whole, we try and accommodate everyone spectrum. So I think we do both of those things very well. The most, if not all, of the people that I have on staff are constant repeat staff. So they're, most of them are very experienced. I think on an average con, we have roughly only 20-25% of staffers that haven't staffed before. If that feels high to me, but I think I'm being safe with that guess. So the experience shows through and the quality of the event that we put on. That's the best that I think I can answer that question. I would say it's weird for me too, though, because I don't attend my own cons. I also don't attend other cons. So it's you're sort of asking the wrong person a little bit. Asking people that have attended the cons, it would probably give you a better answer, to be honest with you. But hopefully my response has helped you in some way. Thank you for the question, Shockbox. Delta Sierra asks, "Hey Charlie, hi. Since I missed the chance to try it, have you tried the Illuminated Brewworks Brony beer, and is it any good?" Yes. So for those who don't know, I am sort of a craft beer nut. I have personally tried almost 4,500 different craft beers. Again, a lot of experience to go off of there with my opinions and thoughts on the matter. So the Illuminated Brewworks Brony beer, I actually think it's pretty good. For those who are looking to try it, it is a very hoppy beer. So if you don't like hops, if you don't like that bitterness, sort of like flowery taste, you might not like it. But for the style, I think it's very good. Coaster Bernie asks, what is Silver Surfer Days that your vice chair brought up on Twitter? Michelle, this is your fault.
Sorry?
Somebody has asked about Silver Surfer. This is your fault. Probably can hear her in the background cackling. So this is way off topic, but long story short, I used to be a musician. And the first band that I was in, I was a drummer for, and we were like a new metal band, and because it was like the trend with new metal bands at the time, like some of us wore like outfits, and like my outfit was I had a like reflective silver pleather straitjacket and pants. It was like I was clad in this like shiny reflective silver straitjacket suit. It was so stupid, but it was the late 90s, early 2000s. You'll have to forgive me. But that was what I was drummed in. Yes, it was very hot for anybody wondering. Yeah, that's where the very brilliant nickname Silver Surfer came from that. Thank you so much, Coaster and Michelle, for making me talk about that. Thoth asks, how do you see the pony convention scene changing with the introduction of G5 in the next few years? Gosh, I hope it comes back, or at least it stays the same. I do not say that the convention is dying, that the fandom is, or that the fandom or the convention scene, I do not say that they are dying. The word that I like to use is condensing. There are naturally with any fandom, I think, people that have kind of like come in because their friends were into it, but have moved on to other things just because they weren't really like core fans. In the first place, they're, some people might call them tourists or casual fans or whatever. I think the core fans are not going anywhere for the most part. Of course, there are exceptions, but I definitely think with with what we're seeing right now. I mean, heck, with online con, there's currently, I don't know how many people in the Discord. What is the number right now? So right now there's about 2,500 people online. Just in the Discord, there's probably people off playing games and doing other things. I mean, the attendance, so to speak, of this con is more than any of the ones that I've ever run. So I know it's online, so it's easier to get to it. It's free and yada, yada, yada. But still, the interest is absolutely still there, and people still care, and people are still wanting to be involved in this fandom. So, I think that the core of the fandom is not going anywhere. As far as what effect G5 is going to have, that's really hard to say because we don't know what G5 is going to be. If it ends up being anything like the leak that we saw before, personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I hope that they don't remake characters, like reboot characters. I hope they will come with new characters, or if they have characters with the same names and the same look, that they remain true to what people know and love from G4. I would personally rather see a show with new characters where maybe the G4 characters make cameos every now and then, but they are themselves. They're not different. They haven't been changed. That's what I would like to see. But that was not your question. So it's hard to say if G5 will capture people the same way that G4 did. I definitely think that G4 was a lightning strike in a bottle. Like, it happened in just the right way at just the right time. So I don't think that exactly can be repeated. But I certainly hope it would be great if it did, for sure. Having, certainly from a convention runner's perspective, having presumably new talent to invite to conventions, new voice actors, new characters to fall in love with, new characters for for artists to make fan art of, new songs for musicians to remix and cover and do fun things with, and then new talent for convention runners to invite voice actors, showrunners, and all that. I mean, like, potentially it could be great for the convention scene, as long as people don't, as long as people give it a chance and don't just throw it out. That's so hopeful, but hard to say until we really know for sure what it's going to be. Jameis asks, do you visit other MLP conventions regularly just as an attendee? And if yes, do you enjoy to be on the other side for a moment? I have not attended. I think I'm safe in saying that I have not flatly attended a convention since my first one, which was Ciderfest 2014. Every other con that I've been to, I think, I have either been working for that con, or I have been there to promote Ciderfest or Whinny City at a table, like in the vendor hall or in the convention row or whatever. I have not, I don't think, unless I'm forgetting something right now, I don't think that I have just flatly gone to a con just as an attendee since Ciderfest 14. So there's that. Not that I'm complaining by any means, but I sort of don't know if I could just attend a con at this point. And that's something I know a lot of staffers say. It's like, because even with like PonyFest Online 1.0, like a couple weeks ago, just like, I don't remember what it was. There was like something with like when the con started. Oh, the Q&A channel hadn't opened up right away, and I noticed, and I like went into like the panelist chat and just like, hey guys, like, should this, like, I jumped into con chair mode. I was just like, oh hey, so I noticed this thing, maybe should this be working, should this be fixed? And so like, I, even with an online con, I just can't help myself. So I don't know if I could just attend a con. I would probably end up like jumping into the trenches at some point just to like unbury registration if they were backed up or something. Like, I don't know if I could just watch that happen when I feel like I could help. I don't know. So no, I don't just attend cons. I kind of wish I did, but I don't know if I could, is the short version. 404 compliance. To extend James's question, how are the chances to get you to visit a European convention? Gosh, I would love to. I've been to Europe twice, I think, in my life. And I love it on that side of the pond for sure. But I only get so much vacation time. Well, both me and Michelle, we only get so much vacation time from our respective day jobs, and it's hard to get time off for other things that aren't planning the cons that I'm either going to run or going to promote my cons. Again, like I just talked about. So I would need to be in a position where I have a lot of extra money and where both of our jobs could spare us for a while. So odds, unless it happened to coincide with another reason we're taking a trip, probably not good, unfortunately, as much as I would love to. Dusty, hey Dusty, just saying hi Charlie, hope your news are doing well. Same to you and to everybody else watching this. I know this is a screwy time, so I hope everybody's taking care of themselves. No, we're doing well, Dusty. Only going a little stir crazy, but all good. Hope things are good on your end as well. No one and nobody says, just curious, what does it take mental, emotional, physical, resources wise to chair, create, start a convention? Wow, that's a whole hour in and of itself. I suppose the shortest answer that I could give to that question is my estimation as to how and why I have been able to chair as many cons as I have before without burning out is I have the right combination of ADHD, probably autism, free time, and love for this fandom to be able to put, to be able to maintain focus and to stay up, and ability to go without a lot of sleep is also a really important one. To be able to do what needs to be done. So yeah, physical resources wise, the computer really is all that I need, and beer, energy drinks during the day, beer at night. So, coffee in the morning, energy drinks during the day, beer at night. So as long as I have my correct fuel for the day, that's an important factor as well. But yeah, patience, I guess. Patience and understanding are probably the two mental things that are most required, just because like things are going to go wrong, and not freaking out and not panicking are the two biggest keys to dealing with it when things go wrong. Yeah, special mod. Hey, let's see. Delta Sierra beat me due to your question, so there. You're welcome for the updates on Whinny City. I would love to drink a beer with you soon, and I hope you you are well as well. So thank you for that. Kyle wanted to say not much of a question. Just wanted to say keep up the amazing work despite the current situation going on in the world. Hope for the best. Yeah, thanks. We're doing the best we can with the cards that we are being redealt on a constant basis. Larsis, Pony. Pick Fairy, could you talk about the best way to handle special guests to the conventions? Usually you can focus on community guests. Sometimes it can be better, but the attendees have to have a few big ones. How would you plan for that? So one of the things that if another con does this, I'm not aware of it. If another pony con does this, I'm not aware of it. But one of the kind of cool things that I think Ciderfest and Whinny City does is we actually put out a survey that anybody can respond to, with as comprehensive of a list as we can put together of all of the voice actors, production crew, IDW comic artists, and other cursory special guests. And we put it out to everybody, and we just call it the Guest of Honor survey, and we just let everybody vote on who they would want to see come to the convention. The reason that we do this is because we want to have the guests that people want to see. Because I think on one hand, I think it's putting together the best possible show that we can for the people that are going to come. But on the other hand, I think from a business practicality, standpoint, if we're bringing the people to want to see, that'll hopefully get more people to come to the con. Like, it's just, that don't make sense to me. So part A, answer to your question, is we really find out who people want. And want to see. From there, it's just a matter of figuring out your budget of how much you can afford to spend. Make sure to take into account flights, hotel, per diems, transportation to and from the airport, baggage fees, like all the little things. In addition to the appearance fee, obviously. And then just kind of figure out, okay, I'm just going to make up a number. Let's say that you have 10 grand to spend on guests. Maybe do a big guest that would end up costing maybe 4, and maybe 2 or 3 that would be 2 or 3 would be maybe 2 each. So 4, and then 6, and then 8, and then maybe 2 that would be like 1 grand each. I don't know. Again, completely making up numbers just for the sake of example, but having like a bigger guests, I hate using terms that like ranks them against each other, because like they're human beings and like they all have the same value, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. I think having like a headliner, big guest is important, but you also can't just focus on that. So you have to have a spread and try and get people to work well together. If you've seen these guests together at conventions before, inviting ones that, while paying attention to the survey that I mentioned, of course, but try to invite ones that have worked together and have interacted well together, so that they have things to talk about with each other at panels. And then, once you've kind of figured out who you want to invite and have backups, because some of them will very well could possibly say no because of conflicts or other reasons, then it's just a matter of figuring out who their agent is and sending that agent an offer. and then you kind of have the conversation, the back and forth about, coming to an agreement of terms, signing the contract, and then, yeah, kind of just goes from there. Again, a really complicated question I tried to sum up in a little bit there, but hopefully that gives you a general idea. Dexnet, that is 100% a mood, Charlie. Like at a certain point, you could just see, think, oh yeah, trying to attend cons. She's talking about here. Yeah, and then yeah, just having the urge to try and help. Yeah, so yeah, it's not just me. Thoughts, appreciate the answer. Keep up the amazing work. That's your team's work. Constantly embody what makes this community amazing, and we're coming back every time. Thank you. On behalf of me and my staff that does all the work, I appreciate that very much. Okay, so current time is, my local time is 3:13. I think I have about 10 minutes left, so I'm fairly caught up on questions here. Once again, if you're watching, thanks very much for hanging out to just me talking to the camera for an hour. If you have anything that you have asked that I have missed, please re-ask it in the Neural Net Stage question channel. And just make sure I've gotten everything. But otherwise, yeah, I'll kind of just keep going through and looking for things to talk about here. Let's see. Sheba says, love working with you, Charlie. Can't wait to staff Ciderfest and attend Whinny. Thank you for all you do. Again, on behalf of me and my staff, you're welcome, which you are one of. So thank you, Sheba, for being staff. Brony Chef asks, have you ever considered making an international con? So one thing I learned last year is that 3 cons in a year, when I have a full-time day job, is too many cons. That last year was extraordinarily difficult, and so I could not do that again. If for me to go back to 3 or more conventions in a year, I would need to not have a full-time day job anymore, and so I would need to figure out exactly how that will work and what that would look like. That aside, I first of all, I would need to have somebody local. Like when I did MSP, especially because of the 3-con thing, I knew I was going to need help anyways. And it just so happened that, in my opinion, the most qualified person for the job was Vivid Syntax, and he was a local to MSP. And so 2 birds with 1 stone in that particular pick. But having somebody local to where the con actually is, to go to the venue, take pictures, ask questions, be able to talk about and have an understanding of the local area is, I think, really important for planning a good event. So for me to put on an international event, I would absolutely 100% have to have a vice chair that could cover all those bases, especially because then you're talking about currency differences and customs differences and like all those various things that I most likely know nothing about. Yeah, that's a complicated thought to go over. So then there's that. Let's see. Pinky Mouse. Hey, Pinky says, hi, Charlie. I'm missing this con so much. I keep dreaming about it, talking about Whinny City. Do you end up having lots of dreams about cons, good or bad? I don't. I don't feel like I either don't dream very much or I just don't remember my dreams. One of the two. I'm not really sure which. But I right now don't think I could tell you a time. First of all, I currently can't recall a dream, period. So take that into account. But even on top of that, I can't recall a time where I believe I've ever dreamt about a con, which I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah. Dex, okay, legit question. I've never been able to understand the appeal in beer. It's so bitter to me, and I love cider way more so. With that said, why do you like beer over cider? Please answer in copious detail. Okay, Dex, I'm going to need you to bump the next panel because now you've gotten me on this topic. No. I mean, everybody's palate's different. I just like it. I don't know how else to say it other than just like pretty much everybody has their preferences when it comes to anything, any kind of cuisine or food or anything that they put in their mouth. Some people prefer Mexican over Thai and vice versa. Some people like Chinese over Italian, vice versa. I just kind of feel like beer probably falls into that same topic. So I personally just really like the taste of it. If I found a genie in a bottle, I think probably my one wish would be not I have to think if I actually want to say this or not. Yeah, I feel like if I could, I would wish for the ability to not get drunk off of beer. Because if I could, I would just drink it all the time just because I love the taste of it so much. But I don't want to have a hangover every morning. So I have to limit how much I have currently. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some times where the side effects of drinking alcohol are pleasant, like it loosens me up, and especially in social situations and yada yada yada. So it would be unfortunate to give that stuff up, but if I could, I would. If I could make it so that I wouldn't get drunk, if I couldn't get drunk, man, I would really like that because I just really love the taste of beer. Speaking of, I'm gonna have a sip right now. Okay. So yeah, I just like it. Yes, Coaster, I know you're put up to your question by somebody on Twitter. I'll be having words with her later. In fact, do I have something to throw right now? No, I don't. Okay. Dashu, Charlie, is that gray in your beard? Yes, so much of it, so much of it. Are the confounded ponies starting to get to you, or a little bit of that tech life happening? Both. The answer is both. Luckark, what's the most stressful part of con planning? The roundabout, the period. It's not a thing. It's just a time. Because here's the thing that people may or may not know. I am also the PR director for the cons that I run. So all of the chair duties that I have are like one bucket of stuff I have to worry about, and then all the PR stuff that I deal with is probably more work than the chair stuff. Excuse me, like making sure that like the con book is put together. I don't do it myself. Michelle actually does the bulk of the con book, but just collecting all the pieces, making a lot of the pieces of art of all the graphics that go into it. I'm not an artist, but I take the art that's made by the art team and like compose it into like various pages, like the concert page. Like I compose that and all that. And so there's like all like the guests of like the website, like the logo designs and all that. There's just a lot of stuff that I do that has absolutely nothing to do with being a con chair. So all that PR stuff ends up culminating in about like 5 to 3 weeks before con for us, just because that's when like the shirts need to get ordered. That's when like there's a lot of stuff that needs to get ordered at that point. The con book is like a huge undertaking, and that I need to just make sure that Michelle has all the pieces that she needs to be able to do that. So that period of just the PR stuff, all needing to get done in that time frame, banners getting ordered, all that stuff, is probably the most stressful time of just getting all that done. I spend so much time in Photoshop, like eight from around 8 weeks pre-con to about 3 weeks pre-con. Like I just stare at photo. Like I go to work and I spend all day staring at a computer, and then I come home and I end up staring at Photoshop for like 4 to 8 hours a night. A lot of Photoshop. So anyway, yeah, that Luck Rock is my answer to your question. Railway Dash says, your last answer made me think, how do you feel about contrasts from various countries teaming up after the Corona Crap has been ended, of course, to set up a really huge international sort of worldwide con together? I mean, that sounds like a great idea. It's easy for me to say, yes, people should go do this thing, when I have absolutely no idea what it would take to do that thing. So, I mean, having something like that certainly sounds like a great idea. I don't really know what like traveling is like in Europe, like how easy it is to like get from country to country if it's between train and planes or something like that. I don't know if it makes more sense to have a bunch of smaller cons that everybody could go to more locally, or to have one big con in the center that everybody would travel to. I don't know logistically what makes sense. So one of the two for sure would be neat. Captain Charlie, have you cosplayed as Gandalf while you've had your beard? I have not. I've had daydreams of cosplaying as Rockhoof at a con, just because I think that'd be fun. But no, I have not cosplayed as of yet, unless you count a unicorn onesie. That's all. Chip Unicorn, if you were to start a new convention for a fandom, what fandom would you choose? If you had asked me that question about 2-ish years ago, I would have said Steven Universe. I really like Steven Universe, and I know that there's some downsides to that fandom, but there's some downsides to every fandom. So that said, as far as the content and everything is concerned, and like I've seen videos of like the SU's voice actors like interacting with each other at the events they've been to, and they just all seem like such cool people to hang out with. So Steven Universe would be my knee-jerk answer to that 2 years ago. Now that that show's kind of over, probably not. So my other answer to that would be Disney. Sort of a Disney nut. Michelle and I, we have season passes for Disney World, so we try and go there, at least a couple times a year. Absolutely love it down there. I just have absolutely no idea. My impression is that Disney lawyers don't let Disney fandom cons be a thing because there don't seem to be any. But maybe that's everyone's assumption, and that's nobody's tried yet. I don't know, but Disney would be my other answer if I could make it possible to do that. Let's see here. Just kind of checking in on things. Okay, not being kicked off yet, so I'll keep going with questions. Dex, wait, why not just wish to not get hangovers? Oh, all the fun without the downside. Well, because I mean, like, if I could, I would drink while I'm working, and having too many beers, raising the blood alcohol content up while I'm trying to get work done is also not productive. So then there's that. Pick Fairy, I might move my first question to Twitter, maybe easier to answer on there. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, if anybody has anything, if you're watching this after the fact, also, if there's anything that you want to ask, like I said earlier in the stream, I try to be as open of a book as possible. If there's something that I can answer, I will absolutely try to do so to the best of my ability, unless it's like a NDA thing or a contractual thing that I can't talk about. Feel free to ask me whatever you want on Twitter. You can tag me. I'm at TekCharlie. So yeah, Twitter would be great. Felicia, hey, I hope you're doing well and all this craziness. Same to you. I hope you're doing well as well. Cool. So once again, rapid fire should have like a minute left. So if there's anything you want to ask that I can answer real quick, they're on that stage questions. But otherwise, to everybody that's been watching, thanks very much for hanging out with me. Over this time. I know that I just want to give huge props to everybody that helps put these PonyFest online and these other online cons that are coming out possible. Everything is putting them together to Dex and to Simmel and to God, I'm forgetting names. I'm so bad at forgetting names. All the everybody that's in charge of putting everything together. Catherine. You all should be very proud of yourselves and very pleased with yourselves for everything that you've managed to put together here. So thanks very much for that. I'm just going to close real quick just by, once again, just because I love it so much, I just kind of want to show off the glassware that we got for Whinny City this year. I don't know if this is mirrored. It's mirrored to me. I know if it's mirrored to you, but probably one of my favorite glasses we've ever had made. And these will be available whenever Whinny City ends up happening, or online if it ends up moving to online. And but big shout out to Roof for the amazing design on this. Fantastic. And then also I will reveal for the first time the Solemn Oath tasting event that we were going to have. The tasting glass for that event. Big credit to Sweet Cream for the art that she put together for this. And so, yeah, little bonus there at the end for you. But I believe that is my time. So let's see, favorite mixed drink. I'm not really a liquor cocktail drinker. I guess rum and coke if I had to have something.
I'm going to ambush in really quick and say we want to kill this ASAP so that we can try and reboot yours because the Twitch stream is unhappy.
Got it. Okay. So that's my time, everybody. Thanks very much for coming out. If you have a question, please tag me on Twitter. I'll be happy to answer it there. Once again, thanks to everybody from PonyFest Online for putting on such a great event for everyone. And hopefully I'll see you all at a real life con very soon. Have a good Saturday.